We have many students at the University of Texas. Every year we have 8,500 freshmen, and every student has different challenges. And so what we try to do is identify the students and what is going to be most important for them to be successful, especially in their first year. And it's going to be very different depending on who the student is, what their background is, what high school they've come from, what their preparation is. As a university, our biggest challenge is students coming to the university, smart kids, but from high schools where they haven't had as rigorous courses. They've never written a paper, the math training is not as good as it should be, very limited science. And so our biggest challenge as a university is how do we give these smart students the opportunity to be successful at college. One of the critical narratives of higher education in America is students graduate from college and they don't have the skills to be successful in getting a job and being successful in those jobs. I don't think it's a valid critical narrative, but we do want to make sure that students, no matter what their degree is, whether it's a degree in English or a degree in electrical engineering, have the skills to be successful, and not just in their first job, but in their career that they're going to have after that first job and long after they graduate. And so the idea of college to career is very early in a student's education. They're starting to think about what are career possibilities, what are career opportunities, how their education at UT is going to prepare them, what additional work they might want to do, or what work might they want to integrate as part of their degree program. The traditional approach is a student's getting ready to graduate, they're a senior, they go to the Career Center, they sign up for interviews, and that's not going to be as successful as the economy changes, as employment needs change, and as things will change in 30 to 40 years after that student graduates. So social mobility in higher education is not a new concept, but at many American universities it is a new focus, and that's especially the case at the University of Texas. One of the major issues facing the United States as a country, and I think facing many countries around the world, is income inequality. There are a lot of political debates about ways to address that, but nobody debates the proposition that education is important to providing opportunity and addressing income inequality through social mobility. And education is the key to doing that. We have had so many stories of individual graduates that the key to their success was a degree from the University of Texas. And not just that degree, what they learned enabled them to be successful. And so for really the first time as a university, we're focusing on that as a priority. It had always been a byproduct, and now we're thinking about that as a priority of what we do and how we identify potential students, how we recruit them, how we admit them, and then how we give them an education for them to be upwardly mobile. At many universities, we think about our two missions, our teaching mission and our research mission. And some universities don't think very much about how those two are related. And that's something we have been working at UT Austin. We have been for a very long time, that the education is enhanced by the research that faculty and graduate students are doing. And the teaching motivates many research questions in many fields. And so how do we more closely integrate that? Because there is a value to getting an education, an undergraduate education at a research university. And so we've been looking at how to bring those two even closer together. And it fits into this idea of part of education is not just the classroom or just the laboratory or just the studio. It's experiences that mirror what a student will be doing for 30 or 40 years after they graduate. And what is that? It is identifying tough problems, problems that may not have a solution, but you've got to figure out how to deal with them. And whether those are a scientific problem, or an economic problem, or a social problem, or a political problem, and giving students that experience as part of their undergraduate education. Many of our students come in to the University of Texas not understanding what a college education is and how to be successful in it. And why is that? Because for many of our students, nearly a quarter of our students, they're first in their family to go to college. And so if they fail a chemistry exam, they don't have a parent or a sibling or an aunt or uncle or cousin to help guide them through. And so how do we help that student? Well, we could have a faculty member, but faculty may not know how to help a student. We could have a professional staff member, and our professional staff do a lot of great advising. But for many people, you get your advice from your peers, you get your support from your peers, and it's self-reinforcing. If you help a student, you're also helping yourself, because you learn in that process. So we have found peer mentoring is not the only method, but it's a very effective method for students to feel that they're getting the support, and they're not the only ones that might have failed a chemistry exam, and that students who have failed a chemistry exam do better on the next one and go on to pass a course and do well in a course and do well in the courses that follow. And they can learn that from their peers and not being told by a professional staff member or a faculty member.